Chapter 46, Fanimation. It was about 15 more minutes before we got on I-65 South, and after that was just a little bit over 2 hours before we began approaching Indianapolis. Exit 129, I-865 East to I-465 East. That is what we want, said Sam. Dr. Morcassius then began to get over to the exit lane. How does all get Fanimation? I asked as we were getting off at the exit. For 5 minutes to the exit, we will have lunch first. It is 1 more minute once we get off I-465 East, answered Sam. That is great, because I do feel like I need a break at this point, said Dr. Morcassius. So where do you guys want to go to lunch, Mommy asked. You get to choose, because we were stopping at Fanimation for George, said Dr. Morcassius. Most of these stops were for us, said Sam without giving away anything. Then let's see what's off the exit Fanimation is off of, said Daddy. My parents pretty much snuggled the whole ride down. I can tell they were upset that their time was being cut short while Willie interrupted. So where are we in relation to downtown Indianapolis, I asked. Because I have been asking road questions for Sam on and off of on the ride so far. We are on the northwest side. Downtown is in the center, answered Sam. Just then, a road came over us and merged into I-865. Now you're on I-465 East. And we will be getting off at the first exit, which is exit 27/US 421 North Michigan Road, and making a left to go to Fanimation, said Sam. I want Applebee's for lunch, said Daddy. Applebee's it is, and just a reminder to all that we are now in the Eastern time zone, said Sam. 1 hour ahead? Mommy asked. Correct, 1 hour ahead, said Sam. We then had a nice lunch at Applebee's, and after that it was only about 2 turns, and we were at Fanimation. So, what is this place again? Mommy asked. A ceiling fan factory with a museum devoted to fans and ceiling fans inside, I answered. No wonder you wanted to stop here, said Mommy. Do you want to come inside? Dr. Morcassius asked. Sure, for a few minutes, said Daddy. Me too, said Mommy. We then entered the building, and when you enter, there are 3 Fanimation Enigmas which we have in our living room in Robbinsog, along with ceiling fans in every office. However, at the end of the office hallway was the first floor museum, which is housed mostly vintage with a few ceiling fans. Sweet, I said when we entered the first floor museum. I then took off deep into it. Remember, George, be careful with your wheelchair and don't touch anything, yelled Mommy from the other side of the museum. I wasn't going to touch anything, but it was fun to look at all of this stuff back here. It was about 10 more minutes before Dr. Morcassius came up to me. Which one is your favorite? Dr. Morcassius asked. This one. It has 2 blades and is golden, I answered. Dr. Morcassius then slipped the returns note into my sleeve. What is your favorite? I asked Dr. Morcassius. You know, I'm not a big fan of fans, but there are too many for me to tell, answered Dr. Morcassius. Me too, said Sam. Okay, I said. We then walked back to our parents, who were still waiting for us at the front of the museum. Don't you want to come back in here with us? I asked. No, because there is nothing hands-on, said Daddy. And Daddy and I always prefer museums that are hands-on, answered Mommy. Because we're both nerdy, added Daddy. My Mommy then laughed. Then let's go upstairs, I said. We then went upstairs by me crawling up the stairs and Dr. Morcassius carrying my electric chair in the museum. This room was devoted completely to ceiling fans. I do not know what I did during the next hour, but let me say that, my God, have I never been filled with so much excitement that I basically don't know what I was doing during the next hour, because I was just watching the ceiling fan spin. That hour was interrupted when Dr. Morcassius smacked me directly across the face. Ow! I said. Riddle time, said Dr. Morcassius, Sam was right behind him. Where were Mommy and Daddy? I asked. Cuddling in decor, said Dr. Morcassius. Okay, let me just look at the furthest riddle. The riddle said, go to the ceiling fan with specific plastic blades with holes. Interpret it as a math sign with keeping the answers to the next two riddles separate. The return specifically wants me to stay on this floor based on this riddle, I said. I then began looking around until I think I found the correct answer. There was a ceiling fan with 4 blades that were frames of plastic coating in it with holes on the edge that were meant to be there. So now I have to interpret this as a math sign, and with it having 4 blades, that means it is a plus sign, I said. Too easy, said Sam. That was what I was about to say, said Dr. Morcassius. The hard part is that we need to apply the answers to the next 2 riddles to the plus sign, but we must keep them separate and not combine, I said. There was a pause as I was thinking for a moment. Sam, what time is check-in at the Westin in downtown Cincinnati? I asked. 4, said Sam answered. What time is it now, Eastern time? Dr. Morcassius asked. 3:30, meaning it is 2:30, 2:30 Robbinsog time, answered Sam. George, I'm sorry, but we have to go leave for Cincinnati now, said Dr. Morcassius. Fine, but let me use the restroom first, I said. Fine, said Dr. Morcassius. I then crawled down the stairs into the restroom and peeked in people's offices of the ceiling fans along the way. After I went to the restroom, I peeked into the warehouse window where the ceiling fans Fanimation makes are stored, and then I left for the car. How much gas do we have? Sam asked. About half a tank, 175 miles, Dr. Morcassius answered. That's more than enough to get us to downtown Cincinnati, said Sam. Okay, said Dr. Morcassius. Sir, how long until we are at the hotel for the night, Mommy asked as we were getting on I-465 East. About 2 hours, answered Sam as Dr. Morcassius was getting us out to the parking lot. Haven't you had enough time to make out today? Dr. Morcassius asked. You don't understand when you were married to Hannah, said Daddy. Dr. Morcassius shrugged because he is not, Dr. Morcassius shrugged because he is not married to Hannah yet, and he doesn't even know if he's going to marry her yet. You know how to get to I-465 from here, Sam asked as we were leaving the parking lot. Yes, remind me, I stay on it heading east, Dr. Morcassius asked. Yes, and it is going to begin to head south, and we are riding from exit 27 to 49, answered Sam. What is exit 49 again? Dr. Morcassius asked. I-74 East, answered Sam. We then got on I-465 East. Have you ever been on this part of I-465? Dr. Morcassius asked. No, we have only been on it between its 2 intersections of I-65 on the west side of Indianapolis. Remember that it is a loop. It is an out-about loop interstate around Indianapolis, said Sam. Okay. Cool, I said. Do you want to know something else cool about it, Sam asked. Sure, I answered. The kind of interstate I-465 is called a beltway because it is a loop around a major city, and it is the only beltway through all the state and national routes and 2 interstate highways, or join it to bypass the city of Indianapolis itself. No other city has a beltway like that, said Sam. What are the 2 interstate highways? I asked. I-74 and eventually I-69, answered Sam. Why aren't we on the port of I-74 now? I asked. faster this way. And before you ask about I-69, it isn't complete yet south of Indianapolis, so that's why it is as it is, said Sam. Okay, I said. There is the current south end of I-469 now, said Sam as we were passing by that exit. I think we are about to turn to head south now, too, said Dr. Morcassius. I think you're right, said Sam. So how much longer until we are out of Indianapolis, I asked. At least 20 minutes, said Sam. 12 more miles to our exit, followed by several more minutes in the countryside metro area, Dr. Morcassius asked. Yep. Once we get off I-465 and onto I-74 East, it is 3 more exits, and then we are in the middle of nowhere until we cross the Ohio border, and then it is about 15 more minutes to downtown Cincinnati, which is where our hotel is. It was about 12 more minutes before we got on I-74 East, and after that I counted the next 3 exits. So, how much longer until we are in Cincinnati, I asked. An hour and a half. We are about 90 miles from I-75, and when we get on that heading south, it is only about 3 more minutes to our hotel, answered Sam. Look at the bright side. The sun is setting, and from what I hear, the Cincinnati skyline is one of the most beautiful skylines in America at night, said Dr. Morcassius.